Hi, this is Suzy Rowland and welcome to the Happy in School Project YouTube channel. We just had Children's Mental Health Week and I wanted to share 5 top tips with you in terms of parenting young people with neurodiversity such as autism and ADHD. So the thing that's happened to us recently is that COVID has made us all go into freeze mode. Lockdown is like musical chairs and we're all getting on with our lives, having a great time, and then suddenly everything just stopped. And that's it's confusing for us because we're expecting the music to start again soon so we can go back to our normal lives and, you know, just get on with things. And we're having to manage a level of uncertainty that is really destabilizing, and it's not that healthy for us. And that level of uncertainty about lockdown is creating stress and anxiety, both in us and our young people. And the thing about stress is that it's not good for our health at all. And it floods our body with stress hormones, cortisol. So it's not a good place to be in. So what can we do about it? Well, we have to acknowledge that it's had an impact on us, on our well-being and our family's well-being. In fact, according to Place to Be, the charity that set up Children's Mental Health Week, 31% of parents reported that their children's mental health is worse or much worse than before the pandemic. Now, that's not altogether surprising, but the thing that I think was really most unsettling is that almost a third, 29% of parents who were surveyed admit that they would feel embarrassed if their child wanted counselling, and 34% feel that other parents would judge them. And that's really quite worrying, because I think especially now through this period of huge social change, political change, you know, the pandemic, now more than ever we should talk more openly about our feelings and our mental health and well-being, and the need to get additional professional support. So there should be no shame or guilt about this. So just ditch the shame, ditch the guilt, and let's start a conversation about talking therapies, having counselling, and just normalise that conversation. Don't feel shame about it. Another thing, point number 2, that's number 1, don't feel ashamed about asking for help, professional help or counselling. Point number 2 is be kind and compassionate to yourself as a parent. And that's really interesting because, you know, we think, you know, hashtag be kind means be kind to other people, but the person we should be most kind to is ourselves. And we have to recognise that we're not a bad parent if our child needs professional help. The third thing we need to do is look at the range of anxiety emotions and understand what the normal or the average range is. So if we have a play or an exam or a driving test, feeling nervous or anxious before something like that is actually really healthy, because again it floods our bodies with those adrenaline and cortisol hormones, get us all geared up and wound up to do really well, which it doesn't work for everyone, unfortunately, because some people get so nervous they can't perform at all. But for most people, having a little bit of adrenaline before a big event is actually a good thing. However, if we notice in ourselves and with our young people that level of stress is kind of goes on, you know, for a week, 2 weeks, and the snappiness and irritableness and, you know, just not being able to cope with anything and being irritable and snappy and tearful and shouty, that isn't actually within the normal average range of anxiety levels. And that's the kind of thing you need to look out for, is when it's prolonged and the behaviours continue like that for, you know, over a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. That's the time to actually think we need to get some help here. Point 4, I can't remember where I've got to. Anyway, the other thing to look out for is that, excuse me. Sorry. As parents ourselves, we have absorbed a lot of our parents' parenting style. So we have to really do a lot of self-analysis and looking at how we parent and how our reactions to stress are, and also looking at the things that we do when we are overstressed, like do we use emotional crutches like alcohol or other things that we do that are not particularly healthy for us, or the little things that we do to give ourselves a reward, you know, some chocolate or something nice. Have we started to do that more often to a point where it's actually damaging our health and it's more becoming like an addiction? So just to be aware of our response to stress and our parenting style, because obviously our young people, they are directly in conflict with us if our parenting style doesn't match their sort of personality. So we have to think about who we are when we're parenting, and how much of that is us and how much of that is our own programming and our past patterns. As parents of neurodiverse young people, we already know statistically that the ADHD and autistic child is already at higher risk in a lot of areas, such as sleep disorders, self-harm, impulse control, those really big emotions that they have. So we have to think about all of those additional pressures that we're managing as parents of neurodiverse young people. So the last point I want to make today, it could be 4, it could be 5, I'm so sorry, is the fact that what we're trying to do as parents today, during COVID, furlough, employment stress, all of this, homeschooling, working full time, managing a neurodiverse child, it is not sustainable. And the fact that we're trying to do it at all is admirable, but we have to acknowledge that it's not something that is healthy to continue to do long term. So, final message, take care of yourself, be compassionate to yourselves, think about your own parenting style and how you were brought up, the language you use and what kind of parent you are. Don't be afraid to ask for help for yourself, and don't be afraid to ask for help for your young person. Take care, stay healthy, stay happy.